we're sitting in relationship, and we are kind of allowing ourselves to see where that takes us. We didn't preform this conversation. We didn't have a preconception beyond the fact that we had a topic. And even in our last conversation, that evolved completely spontaneously. We started having a conversation and we thought, wow, this is worth sharing. Let's carry it on. So that's what I mean by the space of possibility. We haven't cognitively prescribed what we're going to do. There is a space in which something can emerge between us. And I obviously the context of this was the book, was this first book, where in a sense I've broken empathy down into components, in a sense, but only in terms of using language to illustrate what I mean. And the book is called 7 Steps to Spiritual Empathy. It's 7 steps because it's broken down into 7. But the spirituality is about understanding, we are a part of life. I heard somebody not long ago, they were talking about, life and death as being opposites. And we had a fabulous conversation, because my comment to them was, actually, birth and death are opposites. Life is life. Life exists and we are a part of it. Yeah, birth is our entry point and death is our exit point in life. But life is life and we are a little part of it. And when we, I looked at various definitions of spirituality when I was writing this book, and I had written a definition of empathy, and the two were pretty close, because it was all about, spirituality. And by that I don't mean within any particular religious context. I mean, I appreciate for some people spirituality is within a religious context, and I have no issues with that. But in the context in which I'm talking about it, I'm really talking about us as being an integral part of life. We are living beings and we are part of something that is much bigger. And in a way, when I talk about empathy as being a spiritual connection or a part of life, or a way of living, again, I'm talking about being in relationship with ourselves, with life itself, but developing our ability to listen. And in our last conversation, actually, we finished on something that you were talking about, going for a walk. You were talking about what can we do in really pragmatic ways to look after ourselves. And you spoke about going for a walk. And I remember saying to you, I walk every day, partly because I sort of have to, because I have dogs, so it's a requirement. But I also choose to walk alone. Sometimes I walk with other people, but for me, it's like a space of meditation. I go and I switch off, but I'm not switched off in a numbed down sort of place. I maybe switch off, and I can't even say that I switch off my mind, because I sometimes get some of my very best ideas when I'm walking. But I think it's because I'm not cognitively trying to make something happen. I'm relaxed. I'm very present. We talk about being present. People use meditation as a form of being able to calm, again, the cognitive, when we talk about calming the clutter of the mind, and we're actually talking about calming the cognitive aspects of our mind. It doesn't mean that, I don't think that's all aspects of our mind. I think it's the cognitive aspects. And so, as I said, for me, walking, you could say that is a place where I am empathically attuned to life. I'm available for, I'm sort of mindful of my language, but I read a lot, and I notice when I can read about spirituality or science, and then I can read about psychotherapy, and I sometimes think I'm reading the same thing. It's just that we're talking about the same thing in a slightly different language we use, which is why, as I said, I do feel, and again, sort of slightly, I realize I'm kind of waffling a little bit, but if I pin this down and bring it back into the realm of working with people, I have described in the past therapists, us as therapists, as the gardeners of the soul. Because I don't think people just come to us because they have a mental problem. Yeah, as I said, mental health is about the way that we feel, down to the level of us at a level of soul. And so people are troubled. They're often searching. They may not even know what they're looking for, but they are not okay. That level of unease is not, as far as I'm concerned, just a cognitive state of mind. You know, and life is not an intellectual concept. You know, however much we try and make it into one on occasions.
It's a full-bodied experience, isn't it? It's all of us.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
I think of the kind of experience we're having as a group to that story about the mother and the child. Like, it's, I don't know, as you're telling it, and